Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for today's session. Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are continuing with the 5th chapter. We'll take 2 shlokas today. Shri Nārada Uvacha. Hare Krishna. You can repeat after me.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Look, Sri Nārada.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, can you join from your mobile? Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Shri Nārada Uvacha. Bhavata anudita prayam.
Bhavata anudita prayam.
Yashah bhagavatoh amalam.
Yashah bhagavata amalam.
Amalam.
Ena eva sauna tushyeta.
Yena eva sauna tushyeta.
Manne tat darshanam khilam.
Manne tat darshanam khilam.
Yatha dharma adaya cha arthaha.
Yatha dharma adaya cha arthaha.
Munivarya anukirtitaha.
Munivarya anukirtitaha.
Na tatha vasudevasya.
Na tatha vasudevasya.
Mahima hi anuvarnitaha.
Mahima hi anuvarnitaha.
Translation and sorry, please reset.
Shri Nārada Uvacha. Bhavata anudita prayam yasha bhagavataha amalam yena eva saunatusheta mana etat darshanam khilam yatha dharmadaya chartha munivarya anukirtitaha na tatha vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnitaha. Punam Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Ashish Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji, you can read, then Ashish Prabhuji will read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Shri Nārada Uvacha. Bhavatānudita prayam yasho bhagavato amalam yene vaso na tushyate manne tad darshanam khilam yatha dharma adaischa artha munivarya anukirtitaha na tatha vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnitaha.
Hare Krishna. Ashish Prabhuji.
Sri Nārada Uvacha. Bhavata nudita prayam yasa bhagavato amalam yanaya vasuna tusyeta manye tad darshanam khilam yatha dharma adasya chartha muni varya nu kirtitaha na tatha vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnitaha.
Hare Krishna. Sri Nārada Uvacha. Bhavata anudita prayam yasha bhagavata amalam ena eva asau na tushyet manne tad darshanam kilam yatha dharma adaya cha arthaha munivarya anukirtitaha na tatha vasudevasya maimahi anuvarnita. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Narad said, you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. Although, great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with the religious performances. You have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality Vasudeva. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The eternal relation of an individual soul with the Supreme soul of a personality of Godhead is constitutionally one of being the eternal. 1 minute.
Servitor of the
Eternal
eternal
master.
master.
The Lord has expanded himself as living being in order to accept loving service from them, and this alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living being. Such a scholar as Vyāsadeva has completed many expansions of the Vedic literature, ending with the Vedanta philosophy, but none of them have been written directly glorifying the personality of Godhead. Dry philosophical speculation, even on the transcendental subject of the absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing with the glorification of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the last word in transcendental realization. The absolute realized as impersonal Brahman or localized supersoul Paramatma is less productive of transcendental bliss than the supreme personal realization of his glories. The compiler of the Vedanta Darshan is Vyāsadeva himself, yet he is troubled, although he is the author. So, what sort of transcendental bliss can be derived by the readers and listeners of Vedanta, which is not explained directly by Vyāsadeva, the author? Herein arises the necessity of explaining Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the same author. The prompt diagnosis of Sri Nārada is at once declared. The root cause of the dependency of Vyāsadeva was his liberate avoidance of glorifying the Lord in his various editions of the Puranas. He has certainly, as a matter of course, given description of the glories of the Lord Sri Krishna, but not as many as given to religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. These four items are by far inferior to engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. Sri Vyāsadeva, as the authorized scholar, knew very well this difference, and still, instead of giving more importance to the better type of engagement, namely devotional service to the Lord, he had more or less improperly used his valuable time, and thus he was dependent. From this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased substantially without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad-gītā, this fact is clearly mentioned. After liberation, which is the last item in the line of performing religiosity, etc., one is engaged in pure devotional service. This is called the stage of self-realization or the Brahma Bhut stage. After attainment of this Brahma Bhut stage, one is satisfied, but satisfaction is the beginning of transcendental bliss. One should progress by attaining neutrality and equality in the relative world, and passing the stage of equanimity, one is fixed in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. This is the instruction of the personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad-gītā. The conclusion is that in order to maintain the status quo of the Brahma Bhut stage, as also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Nārada recommended to Vyāsadeva that he, Vyāsadeva, should now eagerly and repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. This would cure him from gross dependency. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितान् च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण। We continuing chapter 5, Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 1st, chapter 5, shloka number 8 and 9. In these shlokas, they describing the humans' life responsibility, and second shloka they describing their satisfaction or their anxiety. Uh, what is the reason of that anxiety, that describing in two shlokas. Prabhuji will tell us in detail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Vyāsadeva ji is submitting himself to his spiritual master, who is Nārada Muni. So, as mentioned in the shlokas, the whole scheme, whatever we do, has to be to satisfy the Lord, which is the secret of success. Tasmin tushte jagat tushtam. If Krishna is satisfied, then whole world is satisfied. Prabhupada ji in his lecture used to say, quote Archbishop of Canterbury, who used to say that you people, you want kingdom of God without God. So Prabhupada ji used to say, exactly, that is Ravana's policy. He was a kingdom of God without God. So kingdom of God means everyone is prosperous, happy in every respect. Ravana was materialistic. His capital was almost gold, Svarṇa-laṅkā. But what was the result? Everything became vanquished. Whole of Ravana's kingdom with his family, with his everything finished. Mare Krishna Rakhe Krishna Mare ke. Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but when Rāmacandra, who is Lord Viṣṇu, he wanted to kill him, Lord Shiva could not save him. So our work has to be, the whole work has to be how to please the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad-gītā, there is very simple formula how to please the Supreme Lord. Krishna says, Ye idam paramam guhyam madbhakteshu abhidhasyati. 18.68. So he says, for one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. And he further says, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakritamah. There is no someone in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And those who are not doing it, they are actually asuram bhavam ashrita. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of artistic nature of demons, do not surrender. So, if one has taken the attitude of becoming a demonic, however learned he may be, it is Maya aparita jnana. His learning, his knowledge has been taken away by Maya, and asuram bhavam namam prapadyante. They will never surrender. This is the sign of demon. Therefore, one who surrenders to Krishna or God is very fortunate. Bhavanam janmanamante dhananamam mam prapadyate. After many births and deaths, who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. Therefore, Krishna says, that nacha tasman manushechu kaschin me priyakritamaha. These field workers who are engaged in teaching this Bhagavad-gītā, they are very, very dear to me, very dear to me. Even Punananda Saraswati, he used to say, Dante nidhaya trinakam padayoho nipatya kakushatam kritvacha. This is a shloka which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So it translates that taking a straw between my teeth, falling at your feet 100 times, I humbly submit, O great personality, please give up all mundane knowledge that you have learned and just submit yourself at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This has to be the humility which we carry in our lives. In this age, simply by fighting or argument, it is difficult to preach. It is always better to become humble and meek. Shatam means 100 times flattering. I have come to you to say something. Sakalam eva vihaya durat chaitanya charane kurutha anugragam. Just try to submit yourself on the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. By his mercy, you will find that Kaivalyam Narakayate. You will find to that become one with the Supreme. It will appear to you just like a hell. Many people want to merge with the Supreme. That is highest ambition of impersonalist. But if someone submits to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Chandra, then he will find that this conception is just like hell. Kaivalyam Narakayate. So the karmis, they also are trying to do something. So what they are trying to do is they are trying to get elevated to the higher planets. And there are ritualistic ceremonies for that. Yanti Devorta Devan. We have that shloka, Bhagavad-gītā 9.24. That those who worship demigods will take birth in demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. But those who worship ancestors will go to ancestors, and those who worship me will live with. So if you want higher planets, you can do it. And the yogis, their ambition is in this, the 8 kinds of successes. They can become lighter than, say, maybe a cotton swab, or even smaller than the atom. Anima, Laghima, Prapti, Siddhi, Shita, Vashita, those all Siddhis. But even those, they are useless. Prabhupada Saraswati says, Durdanta Indriya Kala Sarpa Patali Prokta Hatha Daunstravate. Now, yogis, they are trying to get all these siddhis by controlling senses. But here he is saying, why you should be afraid of senses? Why you are so much busy trying to control the senses? He says, the senses are just like serpents. Durdanta Indriya Kala Sarpa Patalihi. So, even Krishna says in Bhagavad-gītā, the same thing. Now, senses, the snakes, as soon as we see a snake, we know if it touches, it's the end, because they are poisonous. So, Indriyas are like that. As soon as it touches, there is some danger. Sense gratification means we are creating more danger, some future danger. So, you should always remember that. All our troubles, miseries are due to sense gratification, always troublesome. And yoga system means yoga indriya sanyamaha, controlling the senses. That is first principle. But Prabhupada Saraswati says, yes, it is admitted the senses are just like snakes. But if you break the poisonous snake teeth, then there is no danger. They have no more fears. So if the snake is not having the poison in it, it is absolutely useful. And that poison which is removed from the snake is used as medicine. Now, karmis, they are faced with so many problems. But a devotee who has taken to Krishna consciousness, they have no problem. Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. That is what we believe. Or maybe Vidhi Mahendra Adi Chakitayate. So for all the end, these big men, Ambanis, Adanis, they may be big for others, but for devotees, they're just like worms and germs and ordinary flies. Krishna says in Bhagavad-gītā, Namam Duskritano Mudhaha, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion and who partake of atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender to me. So for a devotee, there is no need of controlling senses. It automatically becomes controlled. Just like we have taken the vow, we'll eat only Krishna Prasad. So the sense is already controlled. There is no question of asking a devotee, you don't drink this, you don't eat that. No. The moment it is Krishna Prasad, it means it is pure. So the senses, they are strong, as strong as the stick. But if you break the poison teeth, then it is no more fearful. Similarly, if we engage the senses in Krishna, no more controlling. It is already controlled. Proktahata tanstrayate vishwam purna sukhayate. So The shloka from Chaitanya Chandamrit, which Prabhupada quotes, is very, very important. He says, for a devotee, the pleasure of merging into existence of Brahman is considered hellish. Similarly, he considers promotion to heavenly planets just another kind of phantasmagoria. The yogis meditate for self-control, but for devotees, the senses appear like serpents with broken teeth. The whole material world appears joyful for a devotee, and even great personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Indra are considered no better than insects. Such is the position of a devotee who has received but a small glass of mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unto this most magnanimous personality, I offer my respectful obeisances. We find there are so many problems in our lives, but the moment we are fully surrendered to Krishna, we know if there is a problem, it is Krishna's problem. Why my problem? Krishna will know how to solve the problem. So we have no problem practically. It is Krishna's problem. Krishna will see to it. Just like Arjuna was encouraged. Nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Therefore, get up and prepare to fight. After conquering your enemies, you will enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachin, can be but an instrument in the fight. So what Krishna is trying to tell is, you don't worry about your victory. I have already arranged. So similarly, we should have such faith and conviction, and let us try. Let us do very sincerely and seriously. Then everything Krishna will do. We have got nothing to do. Krishna says in Bhagavad-gītā, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam taddat eva mam tejo ansha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. So similarly, anyone who is great in the estimation of this material world, there is Krishna's favor. That's all. Nobody can be greater than or equal to Krishna or Vishnu Tattva, that is Narayan. This comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. Yatu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudra Adidevataihi Samatvena Eva Vikshita Sapashandi Bhaveta Dhruvam. A person who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on equal level with Narayan is to be considered an offender or a pachandi. In Vaishnava Tantra, it is said that anyone who considers on the equal level Narayana with such great demigods like Brahma and Shiva, Brahma Rudra Adi Devatahi, such big demigod, Sa Pashandi Bhaved Dhruvam. He becomes Pashandi. Pashandi means atheist. If you want to please Krishna, Krishna says you spread Krishna consciousness. And that is the point Narada is pointing out to Vyāsadeva. Yatha dharma adaya chartha muni varyaha anukrititaha. So he's labeling him as Muni Varya, the greatest among the Munis, the knowledgeable persons. And he's pointing out that you have written the Vedas, but in the Vedas, what is there? Ritualistic ceremonies of performing yagyas. And what is the meaning of that yagya? That means you get great opulent position in the next life, or maybe even in this life. So people are attached to such things. Vedavadarataha partha na anyat asti iti vadinaha. Krishna says this in Bhagavad-gītā. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, result in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. But we should not be like that. Our work, our business is how to glorify Supreme Lord, how to glorify Krishna. Then all success will be there. Although great sage, Narada is saying, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performance. You have not described to such an extent the glories of the Supreme Personality Vasudeva. You have taken much trouble about the ritualistic performance, but you have not taken trouble to describe the glories. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. It comes in Bhagavad-gītā. After many, many births and deaths, he was actually in knowledge, surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a soul is very rare. Even we saw in the second chapter as well, if you remember, Vasudeva Paramakhaha, Vasudeva Paramam Jnanam. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing yajna is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. His supreme knowledge and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma is rendering loving service unto me, him, He is the supreme goal of life. And this is what, unfortunately, Vyāsadeva had not explained till this time. And that is why he had asked, Narada is explaining it to him, that there is a necessity to go to the stage of self-realization or Brahma Bhuta stage. After attainment of the Brahma Bhuta stage, there can be satisfaction. But satisfaction is just the beginning of the transcendental place. We should progress neutrality, equality in the relative world. And once we have reached that Samadarshina stage, we will be fixed in the transcendental service of the Lord. The conclusion being that in order to maintain the status quo of Brahmabhuta stage and also to increase the degree of transcendental realization, Narada is indirectly recommending Vyāsadeva that he should now eagerly, repeatedly describe the path of devotional service. Then only he will be cured from the gross despondency he is having. See, Narada, being a spiritual teacher, he could give prompt diagnosis much better than any doctors which you come across in this material world. So, the root cause he found out that it was because of avoidance of glorifying the Lord. And as a matter of course, he has now giving the treatment as well. So, whether you talk of religiosity, economic development, self gratification, salvation, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they are inferior to engagement devotional service to Lord. Now, Vyāsadeva, being authorized scholar, was knowing this difference. But still, instead of giving importance to the better type of engagement, that is devotional service, he had more or less improperly used his time in describing about the artha, kama, artha, moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And that is why he was unsatisfied. So from this, it is clearly indicated that no one can be pleased without being engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. So we have to take to the devotional service of the Lord as best as we can. And the best way to do so in Kali Yuga is Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalau Nasteva Nasteva Gatiranyata. We just have to chant the Shodash Akshara Iti Mahamantra and be happy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. This cleanses our heart, Chetodarpana Marjanam, of all that is there over the so many lifetimes of births that we have taken. And we become more dearer to Krishna the moment we are purified and we get entry back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna.